Okay, so we've got the turkey going over there on the stove. We've got the onions sweating in with the turkey. Now we're going to work on our peppers. I'm using jalapenos. I'm going to cut up 3. So let's talk about how to cut up the pepper. Remember the gloves? By the way, these can be purchased at any drugstore or like the drugstore area at Walmart, and they're super cheap. I keep a box of them in the pantry. So we're going to take the top off of the peppers. Okay, we'll do all 3 of them. So we take the tops off of all 3. And you'll notice when I cut these, I got my fingers well out of the way and I'm kind of letting the knife do the work. I'm not sawing back and forth. Starting with the top, again, keeping my fingers out of the way, we're gonna cut all the way through the pepper so that it's just right down the middle. We're gonna do that with all 3 of them. Now, this is a little tricky and there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can use your fingers and you can just scoop this out. But see, when we remove this membrane and seeds, we drop down on the heat of the pepper. Now, if you're somebody who likes a lot of hot stuff, just leave this in there and chop it up with it. Now, I happen to live in a household where people don't like to have too much heat, so I'm gonna take it out. If you've got a particularly stiff part, you can use your knife, just watch your thumbs, and you can kind of go a little slice and a little slice, and that will weaken that membrane and make it where it's a little easier to pull out. A little bit of seeds are good for flavor. You can leave them, or you can take the seeds out completely, whatever suits you. You can do it either way. So this one's a little tight, so again, I'm gonna loosen up the membrane, and I'm gonna loosen up the membrane. You notice I didn't cut all the way through, because if I cut all the way through, I risk my fingers or my thumbs and have absolutely no desire to lose a thumb as I'm cooking. So you may notice that next to the cutting board, we're missing that big pile of onion skins we had a few minutes ago. While I was in between things and getting ready for this to get the peppers out, I threw all those onions away. And if you're a new cook, it's really important to take the time to clean up in between your different stages. Okay, so now I'm beginning to cut these peppers into really fine, small strips. It's been my experience, especially if you're working in a household where people don't like spicy stuff, or maybe you have children and the kids are like not into finding bits of pepper in what they're doing. The smaller you cut this, the less likely that they're gonna be able to pick out a little tiny piece of pepper and go, ew, ick, there's peppers in this. But don't leave the peppers out because they really add a tremendous amount of flavor. I went years and years and years and years without adding peppers to the things I was cooking, and was finally persuaded by a friend to try it, and it's changed my life. And so even a single pepper, if you're not a huge pepper fan, can make a huge difference. And really you can use any pepper you want. I would really recommend fresh peppers as opposed to canned or pickled. The vinegar that's in the canned and pickled ones will change the flavor of your dish. Roasted peppers are excellent, grilled peppers. Okay, so I'm gonna cut these fairly fine. I'm gonna do this one all by itself because I'm gonna put it in a separate dish here, and this is gonna be part of our garnish for our tacos. So that's going into a separate dish right to be on top of our tacos. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. We'll come back to that later. All right, so now we're gonna cut these up, and these are going straight into our tacos. So some people do put peppers into their red sauce, and you can do that if you wish. I'm not going to because I don't want to have the exact same flavor profile going on for both the dishes we're doing today. So this is going straight into the tacos. So I've cut that up fairly fine. I could get it a little finer. If I was cooking for my youngest child, I would definitely chop that a little smaller because she doesn't like peppers in anything. All right, let's go put this in our taco meat. All right, so here we go. Starting with our pepper into our tacos, we're just gonna drop that in, give it a little stir, and then we're gonna let this keep going, let those onions keep sweating. We want everything to kind of soften up a little bit, and you can join me over at the cutting board again in a minute. We're gonna work on the garlic.